Welcome back to your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, your real estate authority and the owner of your home sold, Realty. Barb, with the real estate market cooling off some, many home sellers don't want to wait months to sell their homes or worry about their contracts failing for a lot of different reasons. What are the benefits of accepting a cash offer on their home?
Well, I think it delivers certainty for the sellers that they know they're gonna, get to the finish line. I'm pretty sure it's an automatic assumption with most home sellers that, okay, if I put my house on the market, it's gonna sell, right? And actually, a lot of them are not selling, or they're taking a lot more time. I think the last most recent statistic indicates the average days on market for the sellers that are getting contracts. That's not everybody, just the ones that are getting the contracts is 83 days. That's pushing, it's pushing 3 months. We're starting to wade into buyer's market territory right now. And over 60% of home sellers are reducing their prices. We have seen the prices correct a good for 3 to 5% since the beginning of the year. And you know what? I think a lot of that has to do with if you look back at different times of the year and you see, oh, well, here's a similar home that sold, so therefore yours should sell for that much. It just doesn't work that well. We don't have the demand. So what's happening is a lot of home sellers are getting bad advice about where they should position the home price wise. Then it doesn't sell, and then they've got a problem because now the timing is they're even more motivated. And even though the rates have come down since the beginning of the year, probably about 1%, a little less than 1% at this point, it wasn't enough to make the buyers come out like crazy, right? So only when they see a really good bargain do you see the buyers suddenly appear again. But in most cases, they're not, right? So a lot of buyers are thinking, well, I'll wait for the prices to come down or for the rates to come down so it's more affordable. And I personally think that's kind of short-term thinking because you can always refinance for a lower rate. You can even buy the rate down. So I wouldn't wait if you find the right house. And I think there's a lot of sellers that really don't like to be in an uncertain situation. If the house is not selling, they start to get worried. So I recently had a seller that took a contingent offer and I'm not too excited about those because it does create uncertainty. And so I was trying to protect them in the negotiations. And I asked the buyer's agent, her buyer brought an offer, but it was contingent on their home selling. So I asked the agent, okay, well, where are you going to price that home? Oh, I don't know yet. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? You're asking my seller to take their house effectively off the market in hopes that your home sells and you don't know where you're going to price it. And so my sellers went along with it. It went under contract. We had to show it in this weird status in our MLS, which absolutely I learned does create demand destruction. Some buyers think it's not available if it's in the status of RGT, which means right of refusal. Now, the agents are supposed to know what that means. They're supposed to understand that it means that the seller took a contract contingent on somebody else's home selling that has not sold yet. So the door is open for those buyers to get the house. But because it's such a unique status to our local MLS, what happens is it shows up on the big box websites, the tech company websites like Zillow and Realtor.com, as if it's not available. So it absolutely creates demand destruction. And even though I have a backup MLS that feeds to them, it didn't matter. The local agents thought it was, they didn't know what it means, which is pathetic. But anyway, so they were late in getting the home on the market. The house finally goes on the market. And I look at the pricing and I'm like, oh my God, that home is at least $160,000 overpriced. There is no way in this world this home is going to sell. And I don't even know if somebody could convince the seller to lower the price that much. It's quite a bit of money. But you know, it wasn't looking good. So they did their inspection, and fortunately they gave the seller an out there where they asked for a whole bunch of stuff, and there was one point that fell apart, so the deal fell apart. Now they asked to get back into contract, but my advice to the seller was not until they get real on their pricing. If they're currently 160,000 overpriced, it's not going to happen in the next 5 years, you know, that home is going to sell anywhere near that number. So it's not up to me to train somebody else's agent how to price a home. I'm not going to do that. But they should know that all the data is available for us. So it was a good thing, I think, that home is available again. I've seen some other uncertainty happen, like, you know, buyers come along after their inspection. They don't just want a repair to make it work. They want a whole new deck that costs $45,000 or $51,000 to replace parts of a septic system. So I was able to help that seller when that happened, because he wouldn't listen to me. I said, go with this contractor, at least get a bid from this contractor. And when he told me he got a bid for 51,000, I said, you should talk to this guy. And he goes, oh, I didn't know he did that. And sure enough, he did. And he ended up getting a different bid of 28,000. So I saved him, what, $23,000. Also, there's the uncertainty of the buyer financing not going through. There are lenders that will write pre-approval letters that haven't finished the full vetting process, and they don't really know for sure if the buyer can get a loan. You know, or maybe the buyer derails the process in the middle. They go buy a new car or something stupid like that during the home buying process, and they can't get a loan. So it causes deals to fall apart. All those things create uncertainty. I remember talking to this Marine. He was so cool. He's a retired Marine infantry guy, so very short and to the point. And I was telling him, hey, look, we got several offers. Isn't this fun? And he goes, no, I told you to get me the most money. How are you going to do that? So I'm like, all right. So I figured it out. I was able to get the most money for him. And I explained to him, I said, this offer is higher, but we have to be able to prove the value with similar sales because of the loan that they're getting. It would have an outside third party would have to agree that the home is worth what they offered, which is way above similar sales. And he looked at me and he goes, seems like this process, you know, you go under contract and you're just kind of wallowing around the mud until the finish line, then you know for sure it's going to go through. And I said, that's exactly what happens. And he goes, okay, I'll take the cash buyer. So, you know, it's that certainty process. It's having where you're thinking, okay, my house is under contract. Woohoo, I can pack and I can get ready to go. And at the end of the day, it could still blow up. So people don't like that, especially when they're planning on a big project like moving. It's no small thing. They're packing up their house, they're getting ready to go. They don't want to have to show their house again if the deal falls apart, right? So if you accept a cash offer, in most cases, there are no repairs required. They may take something off the price for what they think needs to be fixed, but they're not asking the seller to fix it. Because it's cash, there's no appraisal. You're going to close exactly when they say you're going to close, and you can move on your schedule. So it's definitely a benefit. Now, you know, home sellers could still go out there and explore the market and see if they can't get a live in the home buyer to pay a little bit more, because sometimes the cash buyers will come in slightly less than market value. Some are high, some are low, but it just depends. So a lot of people will give it a shot, and that's fine. They can still go back and investigate the cash offers, right? And you know, I think it's definitely a good option for home sellers to be able to have that kind of as their backup plan in their back pocket in case the whole normal transaction process falls apart. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb has the buyer's team and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about, you know, why a home seller should consider a cash offer on their home. And when we come back, we're going to talk about a few other things that might make them consider it. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and you can reach her at 719-301-3900, talking with Barb about what makes a cash offer better on a home for sellers.
Well, Richard, most sellers automatically assume that these offers are coming in at half of what the home is worth. And actually, that's not always the case. Sometimes they can actually get pretty darn close to full market value with some of these cash investors if they have some equity in the home. It just depends on which offer they take. But the best part of this is they have choices, right? They don't have to solely rely on going on the market and waiting for somebody to come along and fall in love and take them through the painful process of inspection, appraisal, and finally getting a loan approved and getting it closed. So it gives them options. It gives them backup options even. And most real estate agents don't offer that. So some cash buyers come in with a pretty decent offer, some do not, but you don't have to accept any of it. And what we can do with it is actually leverage those cash offers against a live in the home buyer that comes along and says, hey, my buyer wants to bring an offer. Do you have any other offers? And the answer would be, yes, we do. Bring your best and highest. And so that brings the best out of the buyers that really, really want the home. And so that's kind of what we have to offer. And it's different than what most real estate companies offer, solely because we're trying to help people get to the finish line. We don't want to list homes for 6 months. We want them to sell. And that's what the home sellers want too. So that's the number one thing that most home sellers want to know is, what will my home sell for? It's the number one question I get all the time, every single day. And we can help them with that, but we have to see the home and show them their options. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
Barb, you and your team are the only company that I would recommend out there if people are thinking of selling their homes and downsizing to a smaller home. To reach Barb and her team, call 719-301-3900. Barb, favorite time of the show, time for some hot new listings. What do you have this week?
Well, actually, the one that's probably red hot right now that I have going on the market this week is priced below market. It's got some things that are new, like fresh carpet and updated bathrooms. It's definitely priced well below market. It's over in the Claremont Ranch neighborhood. So if you want to find out about it, go to barbhasthebuyers.com. It's going to have very limited showings, and somebody's going to get a good deal. The only thing wrong with it is you need paint. Somebody needs to be a good painter on the inside of the house. We also have a beautiful 2-story home with a finished basement over off of on Crandall Drive in Fountain Valley Ranch. That home is priced at $439,000. We have a home that needs a little love out on acreage on Alta Plaza in the low sixes, a beautiful home in the mid eights on Chalet with an RV garage and treed lot. And we also have another one coming up in on Sunbird with spectacular views. This thing has 5-car attached garage and amazing views all around the house, plus a whole bunch of lots that might be a good choice for you. So if you are thinking of making a move and you want to find out about all of our coming soon hot new listings, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You've been listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you're thinking of making a move, just call Barb at 719-301-3900, or of course, visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Great information this week, up to date, timely, and we'll look forward to talking with you next weekend, Barb.